if they're gonna. Then you don't want yours out there. You don't want that one out there for other people, just. Okay.
Meeting to order. Roll call.
Klein,
Here.
Keenick,
Here.
Pujol,
Here.
Roder,
Here.
Stagg.
Here. Approval of the agenda. Motion to approve. Second. All in favor? All opposed? Okay. Public comment. Have anything to say that we didn't have on the list? Okay. Approved consent agenda items.
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, item number 6, solid waste and recycling proposals. Discussion.
Hey. I was gonna bring up something that I'm wondering if council would wanna consider. Moving this into a work session so we can hash this out. Cause I'm not sure where everybody's at as far as. I mean, if you had your chance to do your due diligence, go through all the bids. And if you actually have somebody that you're thinking would be a fit. I'm not sure if everybody on the council would be thinking the same thing, and it'd be something that we'd have to discuss. And and in a meeting like this, it'd be very difficult to sit here and go back and forth and back and forth.
It'll take a while, yes.
I'd like to know is, I guess I don't know, how are we just going by a cumulative total of the score sheets? Is it gonna decide it, or are we gonna have discussions about it, or how's that gonna work? I mean, like everybody that, say like somebody for 80 and they got at the highest thing, is that who gets it then? Is that how we're deciding it, or what? How does it work? I've never went through this before with you guys.
It should probably be in a workshop, like he says, and go through so we can actually discuss back and forth and compare and do everything else and questions between us and compare.
Yeah, we may well come back another meeting. I don't think that's fair to them. I mean, we need to make a decision one way or another. We should have done this at the last meeting, which we can't do that, but.
Well, at the last meeing, we didn't have the bids until that day,
Right.
so we didn't really have an opportunity to look.
Some of them didn't have to. Some of them we didn't have to.
You had them on Friday.
We had them.
Yeah, you had them on Friday afternoon. Other than the references that came out
Right.
Wednesday.
What you gave us here, this, check sheet with the different, areas it scored, when it scored from low of 15 to high of 20 for. And, I went ahead and scored it. And I don't know, I assume that's the only reason you handed these out was to score them and
Yeah.
just take the total, like, there's no other way of doing it. I don't know that, I don't know if it's fair that all the people coming for their meeting. I don't know, I went through. We had all the stuff here, went through it, scored it, and I don't know if there's any other way of doing it.
Did any of you guys go through them in the rank?
Pardon?
Rank them, like, this is my number one choice, all the way.
I
down?
just got total score for each one, but with the material we're handed out, all we can do is total each, item, and I suppose the highest score, gonna get it. Is there any other way to do it?
I've got 3 of them I got 3 of mine with the exact same score.
Yeah, which you probably will.
Okay, but see, that's a case in point. If he's got 3 over there that he scored the same with the highest total, there's 3 basically at the top of this list.
Yeah.
You may not have that same one, that's it. Or, you know, Cody might have somebody different at the top of his list. But there's arguments back and forth on why. And what we're looking for, actually. That's why I'm saying maybe a work session would be better to work through this.
Yeah, but I'm totally with Daryl, like, we do a work session, then we're asking all these people to come to another meeting, when,
Yeah,
what are we trying to hide? I'm not trying to hide anything on how I ranked any of these, I'll tell every one of them, how I ranked them, why I ranked them, if they wanna know.
Yeah.
What are some of my, like, I guess I'd call non-negotiables, that like definitely set off.
Okay, so I guess my second question would be, if you wanna proceed with awarding the bid, how are we gonna do this? You gonna give your top person?
I can give you, I mean,
And each one?
there's people in here that I can say like, right away, it's a no for me. I wrote it all,
Oh,
up.
okay.
I got like my little cheat sheet here, like my issues with certain things. I mean, yeah, if you want me to give my top three versus everybody else's top three to kind of see where we're falling in.
I was gonna have to keep track of it then,
I mean,
because we've got 5 different opinions, or 5 different
Five different.
survey results here.
That's, I mean, I did ask for these in advance of the
Yeah,
meeting, right? I asked. for
100% you
these.
did.
I know you did.
Okay. I wanna be clear that I'm not the one dropping the ball, any balls here.
I don't put on your shoulder, I didn't hear you say, you probably did, but I was.
You did.
I have to hold juggle all the
Why
balls.
why can't we just read them off and you keep score?
Well,
I think it's about the same, won't it?
sure. Yeah.
All right, with you guys?
Fine with me.
I mean, for me though, there's certain things that some companies offer that,
Yeah.
to me is a hard no.
Yeah.
Like bi-weekly recycling is a hard no for me.
Yeah, the same with me, so.
I fill up mine by Saturday typically, so then half my recycling I'm throwing in my trash. That's like a hard no for some of these.
What size containers do you have?
65, which then I know the response then is gonna be, well, we're gonna offer 95s, which 95s to me for a large group of our clientele in this city,
It's too big.
yeah, I'm not,
Still, if you're bi-weekly at 65 and 65, still well more than 95.
yeah.
Still 130 gallons compared to 95.
Yeah.
And we got a lot of elderly citizens in this town too, that's only want a 95 gallons in their garage or wherever, sitting to either do. And it's hard enough time getting 65 out to the road.
I mean, looking at some of these in the way, the rubric that we were given, I get that. At the same time, my highest score is not my top choice.
Why can't we just put, shall we just list
Keep working on
each bidder, and we just write up, give you the numbers for them,
Sounds great.
and then you just add them up.
Well, if all we're doing is that, if that's our criteria, if that's the only criteria we're going by, then why would we need to have anybody come back if we did do a workshop? If all we're gonna do is just decide, all of a sudden say, say
Go off of a number.
Joe Schmo recycling's highest, rated the highest at 80 or whatever. And if that's the only criteria that we're using, then they wouldn't need to be back here. We could just tell them who it is next time.
But we could tell them, they probably wanna know why we voted a certain way. If I was them, I think I'd wanna know, to see what our strong point and our weak point was, so they have some idea. And I hate to have them come back again, and I'm not ashamed to tell them what I put down. It's what I believe in, so.
So I know Johns County Recycling transitioned to LRS when Smith sold.
Mhm.
How did Smiths get the bid? I don't even know how long before that. Were you on council?
To be honest, I don't remember how that went down either. It was like right after I
You
got.
remember how you
The
did?
bid would be 5 years old right now, so that would have been probably a year and a half before he sold.
You would have been on council then.
I was on
You don't
council,
remember.
and I don't
The-
remember how.
The
it
council went out for
How long
bids.
have we even been doing recycling? Hasn't it only been 5
But I
years?
think,
We had the town prior.
Yeah.
It was just a new contract when we went to carts.
It was
when
2021
automation started.
that the council went out for bid.
Oh, yeah, we had them small tubs. That's
Yeah,
what-
we-
Oh, no, that's
I
right,
forgot.
you guys had a year.
I'm trying to remember.
I don't remember all the particulars back then.
There was like a paper bin. and-
Yep.
Yeah,
Sort of.
yeah.
Okay, Kurt, what's your
score
Do
sheet.
you wanna hand them to me, or do you want
Yeah,
to
go ahead.
read them to me?
Well, yeah, but give it back to me, so I know it's,
Sure.
so in case somebody's.
Okay.
And I can't figure this out.
No, that,
Or we
that,
decided towards the
that
highest.
just makes our fucking town look like a bunch of fucking retards.
What was that?
Yeah, I mean,
Who was that and what was that, Valerie?
It's just says Samsung. Whoever you are talking online, we don't know who you are. So if you can state your name, if you have a comment.
No, that's the big.
yeah, I would like to have this. I mean,
Every other city council usually just talks it over and, hey, I like this one, this one, this one, this one, this one.
Yeah, especially because this score sheet here is, I mean,
You guys had this 3 and 4 times in front of you.
no, I'm not blaming this on
I'm
you.
not blaming it on you at all, Shelley. You're getting defensive about something. I'm just saying,
Well,
there's a lot of stuff on
Why
this.
wasn't it discussed at one of those meetings if you wanted to throw that out of the bidding process and out of your bid document? Because that was given to these folks.
I've never gone through a recycling and trash.
Neither have I.
So I
I've
had
never
no
did
idea
anything
what
like
to
this
expect
before.
on a bid. I didn't know I was gonna get a packet from everyone. I've never gone through something like this.
But we have to take blame for that too, we didn't ask for it. You can't blame it on Shelley.
I'm
It's
not
a
putting it
lot.
on.
I'm not blaming it on
This is
Shelley.
a lot of
Nobody's
stuff.
blaming it
Yeah.
on Shelley.
Like some things I just didn't.
I want to say why. you know,
Oh,
some-
okay, I don't care, yeah.
Okay.
You just wanna read them to me then, Bill?
Yeah.
Okay,
What, my first sheet is, LRS.
okay,
I got a total of 92.
Okay.
I give them a 20 on the cost of services because of the, well, no, you don't have to write it. I'm just gonna tell
whatever you
them.
wanna do.
Cause their bid was most economical, and that's. We talked about, the elderly people, we got a lot, but I'm one of them. We're raising their, sewer bill here in July, I don't wanna raise it, there's, garbage. And then the only ones I lowered down. We had a problem, went from a 20 to a 15. We had a little problem, with pickup a couple times, and, they were down here and they.
Is there,
It's what-
anyone- oh, are you with LRS? No, I'm sorry.
Nobody's.
Is anyone-
You two back there, aren't you?
No.
We're supposed to,
They
Okay.
actually don't show it.
Huh?
So maybe you wanna just
Okay, I'll-
give them the total. and-
Well, yeah, I got 92 on that. Alright, this was waste management, I'm
And
gonna
they're
say,
not here either.
they're not here either?
No, not at all. Yeah, that I know.
What'd you give a score for?
But 75 for waste management. Smith Sanitation, are they here?
They are.
Okay,
Mhm.
okay, I lowered, the equipment from 15 to 10. I was, I don't know for sure if you were short on equipment or you had to get some equipment, I think. And there's another question I had there, you had showed that said no trailers allowed during the city cleanup. What was that for?
That's just for during the cleanup, just to kind of limit the amount of stuff that comes
Okay,
through.
what's the size of trailer you're talking?
I mean, most people throw it in the back of their truck.
Yeah.
They bring it in.
What if they pull just a little trailer behind it?
That's fine. I mean, we just want to be able to kind of, there's some
You
cleanups
just don't
where
want a big
people,
like car
people
trailer.
bring in a trailer.
Car trailer pulling up with.
we've
sides
done
on it.
places where people will save their garbage for a year and put it in a trailer or knock down a shed and put it in a trailer.
I think
And
you
that's
guys have
a,
also dealt with the situation where someone came in with like 40 tires the one year.
All right, I just,
It doesn't have to necessarily be that rule, I would say. It just has to, something around that we create that kind of limits. At least makes them go back to their house and get a second
that
load.
was one of the
Or
things
slow
I,
them down a little bit.
Basically, you wouldn't have any problem with a trailer that was the same size as the back of a pickup truck.
No, no.
You know what I'm saying? You
Yeah,
just don't
yeah.
want some big
Yeah,
20-30 foot car
Yeah.
trailer pulling in the sides on it and loaded up. and-
yeah.
Was your question on where it says begin when they get carts? Is that your?
It said that on
I
the
think
thing.
that was one of them.
We have carts.
They have carts.
We go next week.
You got them ready?
Yep, we got them ready.
And the cost of service was a little higher. I lowered that, by 4 points. I give them a 91.
Who is that? Which one
That
was
is, Smith Sanitation Engineer.
that? Oh, who was 86 then? Who was the one before that?
Well,
Wait,
Oh, I'm
I
sorry.
changed it, 'cause that's
Okay.
the question.
Okay.
That's what I
So
wanted
no,
to,
at a
that's what I
91.
wanted to know.
Did you say a 91, Daryl?
Yes.
Okay. Okay,
Okay, how about N&M Sanitation?
sure, they're here. Mhm. Yep,
Okay, I lowered, on the start date, said August, earliest was August 1 is the earliest date. Is there a change of that at all, or?
Most. Implement when we get cars, but.
most car places are 8 to 12 weeks out, so I don't think you guys have broken contract with LRA
We have
yet,
not.
right?
We still have our due
So-
diligence.
Yeah, I know.
Realistically, anyone who, unless you have 700 carts laying around, which we don't, I'm glad you guys do, but we went through our biggest truckload recently, so it's really cart turnaround time.
Yeah, I mean, we still have at least 60 days from the time.
Yeah,
So-
so by the time you fight with LRS to get out, they get a lawyer involved, you go to court, you do.
It's already
I
there.
mean, yeah, you're looking 90, 120 days.
I mean, at the earliest from now, it would be July 1st is when we could
Yeah.
easily get out.
Yeah.
That's.
That would be
everything would
very
go-
tight.
Yeah.
I would assume.
Honestly, I think the August 1st is a very reasonable date for start. I mean, I didn't want to put myself in a bind, and honestly, I didn't figure you guys could get a contract before that. I've dealt with it before. I've been in the industry for 3 generations. We've dealt with waste management and other contracts, and it's not gonna be an easy one for you guys to pull off, so.
Okay, I got Pleasner Sanitation.
here.
Okay. One of the biggest one I marked her down for was bi-weekly for recycling. I'm against that, as Cody mentioned about, stacking them up. We need to have, recycling every week, as far as I'm concerned. And, okay, so I dropped that way down. And the other one was I don't know, we should. We're gonna give them 72 on that. F&J sanitation. That was bi-weekly also. I knocked that one way down. And, they were having 95-gallon containers, and I knocked that down. I give them 70 on that. And the public service. I knocked that way down, the cost of service, that was way high. And I knocked that down to a 75.
I missed N&N score, sorry, what was that, was it 86?
86.
86, okay,
That's what I heard.
Oh shit, I don't want my thing up there.
Another 4-letter word.
I guess for you guys, do you guys prefer like, feedback from council on your bids? Is that official? or-
We'll usually hear when you're discussing.
Yeah,
So-
The whole score sheets and going for the whole garbage bid thing before I never.
I've had the score sheets before, but like, there's a committee goes through, and just because you don't have the highest general win.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, Mike, are you ready? Yes, no,
To
David?
be honest, I didn't really score them all. What I did is I went through all the bids. And I also did some searching online for things. And I narrowed it down to where I had 2 choices. And if you want me to score it,
you can just highlight your 2 choices for me.
that's what I'll do. S&J sanitation, I scored at 85. And Pleasner, I believe I had at 80.
So you're gonna give everybody else a 0 then. You're gonna
I don't
total
know.
those up.
Well,
I don't know.
Total
Do
those
this
up,
now.
you're gonna go zero, you're gonna do that.
but if you wanna scratch those scores off of there too, I'm just saying who my two choices would be.
So we'll just go with the fourth.
So just go with that.
Okay.
And there's various reasons why I went with what I went with. And that's what I'm saying, if I got into it, it'd take a long time to discuss everything. So I just soon,
I guess for you, for those two, what is your reasoning behind those two?
okay. Well, a lot of it had to do with yard pickup, with the areas of where they're currently working, what cities they're working with, which are small towns. And some of the references that they've had, some of the things that I've read and seen. So it kind of just put them a little bit above the rest. Like I said, if I don't wanna go into stuff that is negative so much as it is positive of what I've seen with the different bids and with the different references and that's kind of where I sat.
So if you do a workshop, is it not public then?
Oh, it is.
Oh, it's
It's
not.
still public, that's why
It is,
our agenda's light tonight, so I'd rather just workshop it than not. I guess I just passed my score, so my explanations weren't ever listed. I went through and scored everything and then ranked them, and as I said, some of mine were hard nosed. LRS, they got an 80 because they do have a great history. For everyone else, except for our town, their prices were cheapest, but to me, they're a hard no after everything we've gone through in the past 2 years with them. Them not being there shows that they really don't care about this contract. Same for waste management. I think it speaks volumes to me when a company is not here for a meeting trying to earn our bid. They got 74, they were a no to me. Well, I did like a lot of their stuff, but they just didn't have it. Smith Sanitation, they are a new company. When their parents owned the bid, I've loved everything about it. Our town never had any issues with them. They were very receptive to us. If anything did go wrong, because every company has stuff go wrong, if their parents did it, I would imagine that they would run the company the same way that their parents did, if not even better. I really like that they had a $21 flat rate with no increase for the 5-year term. So they were my number one choice. And then sanitation was my number 2 choice. Once again, great price, only a 3% increase in year 1, 11% increase by year 4 to 5, which is totally expected. Everything about them, I really liked N sanitation as well. They were clearly my top 2 choices. I think I scored them a 94. Wiesner, my biggest issue was the bi-weekly recycling. For me, that's a very hard non-negotiable. Being in Farley I kind of questioned that is a distance for me.
We're not coming from Barley.
You're not?
We're coming from Binghamton.
Okay, you're coming from.
That's where my office.
Okay, that's where you're, okay, so I appreciate that, so that would raise your score obviously for me. Once again, with that bi-weekly, definitely, scares me, whether or not it's 65 or 95. S and J, I got it right on my cheat sheet, you know what I scored them?
S and J.
Yeah, did you write down there? I think I.
85 for S and
85.
J.
Yeah. I know S and J is a great company. My mom worked there for a little bit, helped out, so, I know how they operate. I know it's a great company. Once again, the bi-weekly recycling and the 95 gallon containers were big. I didn't like that, but I did score them high. Compared to the other prices, very comparable for the, increase that we're gonna see. Republic, I gave it 71. For me, the biggest determining factor was the price increase. I get, having the one bulky item per month, and all the extra services that they give is great. But just sticking our population with a 57% increase in year 1, and a 91% increase by year 6. That's a big change. To even match, close to price, we go back to that bi-weekly recycling, which I'm a big fan of bi-weekly recycling whatsoever. So, for me, the two that I recommend are Smith Sanitation and NNN.
And so, as the score sheet goes. Smith came in 348 points. NNN. Yeah, 348 points. Smith, or NNN was 347. LRS was 317. S&J at 314, Kushner at 314, the Republican at 287. Waste management was 293. So, I mean, two top spots for Smith and NNN. This council will make a choice off of that, and do you even know it's on the top? Or more in depth. It's close.
You, I'm gonna ask Cody again about Smith Sanitation.
Yeah.
And when you were talking about Smith, in their submittal here and everything, basically they're more commercial and some residential, like, I believe that, if I remember right, it's like, trailer parks and that kind of stuff. No municipalities at this time. So you were saying that they were kind of just getting going, is that correct?
Yeah, I think you guys are in.
Yeah.
We just started a year ago, and I only have so much in a year.
We know,
Sorry, we just got Oxford, we're starting Oxford, and we got you guys, so you can look at that as a pro or a con, right? I mean, we don't have the experience, but we also don't have 10 other towns we have to service.
I
Look at
think
that.
your
We also
RFP
know
said
that-
we had to have one that qualified.
Excuse
You
me?
might want to look at the RFP. I think it said we had to have 3 records and a bit.
We have,
no, we have references.
Nope, I mean, that's.
I know that it said that.
It's
It just
this-
recommends.
I don't know, can I also point out that? Can I also point out that we may be the new company, but we're also the only ones that can say we've serviced your town 500 plus times between the two of us. I've ran your cleanup the last 10 years.
We also are setting you guys up on Friday. Currently, we don't really run on Fridays. So, by putting you guys on Fridays, that's still our shortest day, which allows us to have all of our resources here. We're growing pretty fast. We got some more trucks that we're trying to get.
So that was like my double-edged sword with them. They're a brand new company. I do know how their parents ran the town. And I was happy with it. That's why they were my number one. I really liked that we were their only service on Friday. It'd be really hard to screw it up if we're your only service.
And all the holiday comes in, they're behind, they're
Yeah.
short staffed.
Well,
Friday.
we got ways that most of those Monday holidays that I don't think we'll be pushing back to Saturday.
Just to clarify, Julie, it's in the
It's in, it
document.
was in Garrison.
Yeah, it's bidder
Wrong town.
must provide 3 references of communities where service has been or is currently
It
provided.
was Garrison.
Okay,
I looked at Garrison, I'm like,
that's
sorry.
okay.
I did them both.
I got a question for when you guys, when all of you guys are saying carts, your carts all have wheels on them, right? Okay, I just wanted to make sure it wasn't,
Yeah, we're all gonna.
you know, cause just with the older people having to
show them.
carry the stuff, yeah. You know how a cart can be, but I just wanna make sure, 'cause with everybody having to roll them off of the road. I hate to see the older people trying to carry them.
Okay, what was second and what was three?
Oh, NNN
And
had a score of 347. A Smith, 348. Again, the old calculator So I hope if anyone wants to check my math, feel free.
I didn't, we didn't get them.
Actually get the numbers. I'll say, some people weren't given numbers and then other ones didn't get a number and.
You've done your math in your head.
On internet, I had a question, I forget to ask, on the, there was reference to scale tickets for recycling, what was that,
That's what she had asked for in the RFP.
So in the RFP, it asks,
Everybody sound like the same letter.
yeah, so you're.
Yeah, it's right, yeah. I'm sorry, these numbers were right.
Okay, so your RFP called out that you guys would want the ability to track the tonnage of recycling if needed, and we just stated that we haul recycling to our own building and we don't have a scale there,
Okay,
so we wouldn't be able to separate the tonnage that you recycle as a town from everybody else. We dump it in our own building and then transfer it to a recycling facility.
We would need heads up, we could stop at a scale at the feed house that's in our town to scale it, but we wouldn't do it every time just for reference or any reason.
I think that has more to do with possible EPA stuff going forward.
We could scale it.
And you operate out of
Cologne.
that one work.
Work along. Not that we already have residential stuff in Swisher and Shoeyville and all over, so I mean, we're already up here.
Do your guys' trucks commingle? Do you pick up recycling and trash at the same time?
Correct, we
Yes.
run a split body, so it's
We-
only one truck in your city.
Okay,
Streets,
we've had
you
some
know,
issues with them, with LRS picking up trash and dumping it with the recycling, not in separated trucks, so just a question.
Yep, so our truck is actually split down the center, so it'd be one truck through the city, but we would be able to pick up both streams at the same time. There's a wall down the center, and a blade that controls which side it goes on. So for efficiency purposes, you wouldn't have two trucks going through and all that time up your roads and put wear and tear on it.
But explain, that's what when I noticed, mentioned about the scale tickets, do we really need those tickets, or
At the moment, we don't,
don't we?
it possibly could come up to that.
Okay,
They've never,
well,
I've never seen them be provided or asked for.
okay, okay, well, the reason I asked is I docked them for that. Well, it was, so. That's why I'm
Ask
asking.
the question before you dock me for it. Can we change the score?
No, No, I docked before I came up here.
Well, yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Now that you know the answer, you can change your score and give me that extra 1 point.
It's gonna be a tie.
Right?
That puts me in a predicament. Yeah, I did dock you 5 for that.
Big predicament is Mike not turning the scores.
We turned in his two favorite.
Yeah, that
I told you who I had selected.
I guess I never, who are your 2 or 3 favorites?
Yeah.
Even if you don't want to explain it, if you just want to list off.
My 3 highest were LRS, Smith, and N. And the only reason LRS was still in the hunt was because of the price.
Because of the price.
I mean, the other stuff I probably rated lower than.
Top three for me was Smith and then. Passenger.
Nice saying about the cards.
Yeah.
Okay, so we service all of our towns are like. Maringo, Benton, Victor, they aren't any younger. And if we really truly have somebody that doesn't, we'll give them little ones if they want a little one. And if they need a bigger one, we will go get it a little bit. If you're wheeling a 75 and a 95, it does not feel that way. Unless you load it up really heavy. But I do think 95 pound carts work. And all those towns have every other week recycling. Some of us do have more cardboard in it. Now with the tariffs, we aren't gonna be buying as much from China. Well, the 10. 10 or 15 pound. 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 10 or 15
Yes. Let's go to a vote. Howard, do-
Darryl, what were your top three?
Carol had LRS at 92, Smith at 91, and NNN at 86.
All four of us have the same top three.
No, yeah, that's.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry.
He didn't have.
Oh, yeah,
You
yeah,
didn't-
Yeah,
Yeah, I didn't have LRS, yeah. Yes, out of those three, Mike, which ones do you like, or is there any that you could be like, I don't feel comfortable with? Those three.
Who were your top two, Mike? Yeah, I can't remember.
Blazer.
S and J was
S&J.
the top, and then.
But
these
from what I'm hearing here too, is one of the main issues going back and forth is this, the bi-weekly and also the larger bins, correct?
And price.
Well, yeah, of course, price. But I guess, some of the issues that I've asked and I've heard about Smith and N are kind of resolved for me. And my top choice was S&J. Looking as the three council members already had both N and Smith in the top three. I guess I don't have an issue with either.
Yeah, already did.
In the
That's
top
right.
three.
Yes. Mhm.
So I don't have an issue with either.
Offer us is very equal. Price point, I mean, when we're talking literally 50 cents difference. At times, like I mean, I think they're comparable price. One is a flat rate, one increases, but it still is under that flat rate, so, I'm comfortable with Smith and then those are my, obviously my top two. Recycling, sanitation, so.
So the cheapest one on here, if I'm, besides, Johnson County, besides LRS is N, right? Correct.
On a 7-year contract.
So technically, on a 7-year, we would be
So,
cheaper.
I
No,
know,
we're cheaper on both.
No, not
No.
LRS. So
Oh,
LRS.
yeah, not from
Sorry,
LRS.
nobody's-
Sorry, I thought LRS was done and out of
LRS is
conversation,
no.
so.
Kurt, technically, we are cheaper in LRS if you want to sign a 7-year contract.
Right,
But I'm assuming you're not wanting to get tied in with a new hauler in 7 years, so therefore we would be 50 cents more than your current rate right now.
You will be more expensive for that like 1 year.
Yeah.
And then no for the rest.
This is still cheap.
1 and 2 is Smith and N, is that correct? Well,
And I mean, technically, we're gonna be a lot cheaper over the life of the contract, where Smith's 21 starting out through the whole 5 years. We start at 19, we only get up to 2055, so you're 350 houses, that extra $2 every month. You're gonna be paying quite a bit of change extra in that 5-year term. I mean, I know it seems like
It's
$2
just
on
3
the
cents a
sheet, but
day. It's not $2 a month.
but that is a big.
50 cents a day.
If you're, the reason for getting rid of LRS, I assume is service though, so a minute difference like that. I mean, to me, you're going for the best service. Right. Which I'm not saying is us or you. I'm just saying
I
like
think we
a
both have
small,
very good
yeah,
service.
a small difference like that probably shouldn't decide.
let me throw this out for a suggestion. I feel personally responsible for this, and I didn't ask this question earlier. And the Shears heck would award more than 1 point at this time, which would tie it. What would if they just flip a coin? I don't know what else you gotta do.
No.
No.
You want me to decide? I don't live in Swisher. Can we talk to you for a minute? Step outside. Anybody got anything?
We're working with the city of Oxford. They had communication problems. So our solution was to find a QR code that we're gonna stick on top of the cans. That QR code will lead to our website, which will have everything that, you know, affects our services. If someone's sending out a mattress, rather than calling City Hall or calling us, they can do that. I know that not everybody knows what QR code is, so, you know, but that's one way that we're looking at improving our communication, making sure that we're the best at it, I guess.
What your website and Facebook's for, I mean.
Yeah.
anybody can
Question for
search.
you guys, NNN, it says, election day determined by NNN in the city. You looked at like your current.
We would be
schedule
Monday now with you, because we
Monday.
have the city of Wellman Hills and Lone Tree.
On Mondays.
No, that's what we picked
The
up. So
rest of the
you're,
week.
you're the last one that went to bid, so you're the
Okay.
last choice there, and it would be Monday.
Okay. How many other cities do you have on Mondays? What's your Mondays?
We just have a rural,
Yeah, it
Rural.
would be a special driver just for the cities, because we're gonna have like those four, and then I got 4 cities down in Keokuk County on Friday. So you'll have one guy and we'll have to buy a newer truck, bring in for these cities, so we'll have a special guy for this, so.
When you guys say, I know, a stupid question, but when you guys say you guys have one truck for both recycling and garbage, so you just pull up at one time and do both? You don't have to come back, you know, like one side, okay.
Yeah, and there's actually a link in there, I don't know if she put it on there, there was a link to the Facebook, the video, you can watch it if you prefer, and it shows you how it operates and stuff.
How long does it take, all, this is a question for all of you, how long does it take to get through like the town of Swisher? Like on your route, like, say like a 390 households or whatever, I mean, because before LRS was bought out or whatever, took over, it was like every day or every Wednesday, you guys would, I mean, my recycles were like at 7:30 and my garbage came like at 8:30. Now with LRS, it's, sometimes it might get picked up at 7:30, sometimes it might get picked up at 11, sometimes it might get picked up at 5 o'clock. It's just, I mean, it's really nice, like, if I knew like, it takes you guys 4 hours to get through Swisher. You know, everybody's gonna, and you take the same route every time, like Cody's gonna know what time his garbage is gonna get normally picked up or whatever, which is kind of nice on like windy days when you don't want to put it out too early and let it sit there till 4 o'clock and, you know, get all blown all over the freaking place.
I'm planning that it's gonna take about 3.5 hours. That's just one garbage and one recycle truck, and we'll start on the west side every Friday at 7. If we could start at 6, that would be awesome, but I know that that's not in the thing, so, we would work our way to the east. And then we have 2 trucks that would be doing commercial that would be able to come in and help. Whether they do or not, I don't know. On a windy day, they would probably help. That way we can get out of here, and we like having early Fridays, so. As far as getting in town and getting out, pretty quick.
for us, if we would get it, like he said, we would have a driver specifically dedicated to each city day, so this would be this would be first on their day. We have some other rural Swisher stuff that we might add on after the city, but our preference is to always start city first, so that if something would happen to your truck mid-route or whatever, you have the whole day to catch up.
Yeah, we got multiple backups
Our-
already, so.
My guess would be 3 to 4 hours, but it's hard to know.
I'll say
It's like their
they're
truck.
gonna be
Does
good.
one truck take care of all the trash in the city?
Yeah.
I just, you know.
So they'll be at 4 hours. We'll be a little bit longer than that, obviously, because we're picking up double carts with one, so we're probably pushing 6 to 10.
I got a question for both of you too. If you're bringing one truck up here and it's garbage and recycle, what do you do about yard waste? Cause if we got residents in
We'll have
town,
another truck that'll come through for yard waste.
you'll have another truck come up through. How about you guys?
Same for us, or, I know that back in the day, we were able to throw it in the pit, of the truck, because there'd only be like probably 8 bags. That's what we would probably do, and then take it to the landfill. We'd be able to pull it out, so either or.
My truck will carry carts on the back for if it's only 8 bags, but realistically, you'll throw it in those and carry it, but I have a feeling that most of the summer you guys are probably putting out a decent amount of yard waste, so there'll probably be another truck coming up through.
That's not a suggestion you all have to have.
Back to me again?
Yeah.
Well, the money talks.
It's simple enough for us. There's 5 of us, there's 2 options. No matter how we vote, it's gonna be a 3-2 vote. Well, not necessarily 3-2, but if each council member chooses their top choice, I don't know. Or is it best for us to write it down and give it to Shelley so that we don't sway each other's votes?
I think all 5 of us should have a say in this. I don't think that's. Because those numbers of the 348, 341, 7 or whatever, if Mike throws his 5 in there, that could definitely change the.
Yeah.
Who was highest and who was low, or,
If
so that's what
you're-
I'm saying,
you're
if
certainly
we wanna put it down on a piece of paper, all 5 of us give it to Shelley of who our number 1 choice is. And then.
Between those 2?
Yep, well, we gotta go between those 2, those 2.
Between the two, we just
Between the-
discussed.
so we're
Just
all
with
in
our
agreement
discussion
it's
between those 2.
Yes. Adam, you agree with that?
That's
Because
like
that
a-
was 2 of your 3, right? That was 2 of my 3. It's the only 2 that all 5 of us voted, or all 4 of us voted.
It's only 2 that met all my
The
requirements.
names, we can put your name on it. I don't have to, not until we get to it.
There can't be a tie with 5, right?
What I found another name.
That's where Patty comes in.
Yeah, that's what Patty's excited.
Whoever gives me free garbage pickup, that's who I'm going with.
She burns it.
We have our sources.
She's got a crick.
I can't tell you.
Like election night, we're all waiting for results.
Somebody's gonna have to double count. Make sure you got it. Sure.
You're former president of the bank, we'll let him tell.
They take their shoes off and.
3-2, and an N.
That's not finally it. I don't think.
All right, let's move to, resolution 14, 2025. Approval of contract with solid waste and recycling. Or,
Motion to approve the
Internet.
contract, for NNN sanitation. For 5 years.
Okay.
Or, I guess before I do this.
5 or 7?
I guess to be fair, in my opinion, if I may,
Yeah.
you should throw out the 7-year, because no one else bid a 7-year.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
No,
Yeah,
no
so
other
you just-
contractor bid a 7-year.
So the only reason we do it.
So you're
is-
comparing apples to apples on 5-year contracts.
The reason we do it is for like a city, when they switch from a hauler to a hauler, we all have to put carts into it,
Mhm.
and it's an expensive initial
Right.
startup, so that 5-year is a little bit more pricey to make it up, so we just do a 7-year for most of them. That way, like LRS has that cheap price, we can get that cheap price and you can feel comfortable with that 7-year, but.
Republic was 7 year.
But they also bid a 5,
Oh.
and they're not even in the top
Yeah.
5. Well, I'm
We get what you're saying, I'm just explaining why we
Yeah.
do it, I mean, there's a lot of shell shock with smaller cities where it's like, oh, $21, geez, what happened, they're 17 or 18, it's like.
Well, for our thing, for future council, I would never go past 5 with what we've had to deal with this, with our last contract. At least it gives us all of a sudden, 3-4 years down the road, we're not happy with them. We can just ride out a 5-year instead of.
Most contracts have like a force majeure.
That's what we're doing now. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We wouldn't make you have to do that.
Contract.
So, motion to approve NNN sanitation on a 5-year contract. And I'd also like to for it to be added to discuss sending a termination letter to LRS at next council meeting.
Okay.
So do we, everyone we send that letter.
So you're saying a 5-year contract, not a 7.
Correct. Second.
Klein,
Aye.
Enoch,
Aye.
Pujol,
Aye.
Roder,
Aye.
Stag.
Aye.
Right, so carried.
Good night, everybody.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, guys. Thanks to everyone.
Yeah, you'll be here long enough.
Have all the garbage men are leaving. All right, thank you guys. You had a lot of good choices.
Thank you.
It's not because of you, Patty, they're leaving.
Yeah.
I'm not offended, I think they're leaving because of you guys.
You know, you didn't have to move clear to the back.
I know 4 of them are leaving because of us.
Hey, just the rest of it, can I get you? Only because some of these guys might ask for a FOIA request. So they may want to see your score sheets. So if I can get them, Kurt, I know, I can make a copy of them.
No, I don't need a
If you
copy. It's
want,
done, you don't
okay.
need.
Okay,
You put this under lock and key, would you?
no, if somebody requests it, I gotta give it to them.
Scores at
I
the
put my name
bottom
on it
line.
too.
Can I make a comment?
Yeah.
I don't know how to say this nicely, but I really hope I never have to call in there and talk to them because I feel like you don't have to tear other companies down to win a bid. I felt like Smith talked themselves up. They didn't really talk other people down, and so I'm really hoping that's just not how service is
That
gonna play
was
out.
the gist I got too, but, seems like their towns, their references really liked them. They're happy with it.
You're right.
I hope it goes smoothly. I was really excited about Smith, but
Mhm.
we're moving on.
A quick side note for this, we had 2 people turn in bids late.
We did?
Well, ABC. and-
No, I didn't,
No,
I didn't
okay.
take a bid.
No, we didn't take them.
Oh,
They
okay.
tried to get it.
Right,
in-
right.
Input it.
Right,
Really?
They were given information that did not go through Shelley on ABC's. So we weren't able to accept that, and the other one was just like getting to us. So, just letting you know, the process needed to be going through
So
Shelley.
one question, in 5 years, since this contract goes great, do we then send it out for bid again, or do you just renew, or?
so
I
typically,
think there's a renewal option.
usually, it's like, you can just continue on.
I just didn't know if every 5 years we have to redo this.
And I don't know if you noticed, and I don't even remember which vendor it was, one of the references that I contacted said that they went with a 10-year contract with the same type of clause in their contract as we currently have with LRS, that if they're not performing acceptably, then the contract will be terminated.
That will be in the
And that
contract.
really-
And then, correct?
Oh, yeah, I mean, yes. Yes.
Yeah, we won't get stuck.
Yeah, so anyway, I just wanted to, I'm not saying a 7-year was a bad thing, but, to keep the price lower, but I don't think that was fair to all of the others.
Okay, line number 8, release and settlement agreement. Approved for,
Yeah, so when the mayor had signed the check, go ahead, unless I hate to
you
speak for
said
you.
you spoke to the lawyer.
I did speak, so he had requested this type of a release to be, and so the attorney did draft the lease. And said, the attorney said he wanted the council to approve this release prior to that check going out, so.
This is for the King Cats.
Motion to
Correct.
approve, release.
Yeah. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. Okay.
Patty!
Oh, so soon. I have an estimate for the pavilion from Tim Gromas with the metal roof. So I want to give you guys that.
What we budget?
Now, I want to be, give that back. Before this happens, I want to make sure, does the council want to go out and get 3 bids? Because Patty has been
I've got
working
2 of them.
hard. She's got 2, but,
They're from. the
I just
same
don't want it to
guy.
be considered public record and then, right? Because once we get it here, once we get it here, then,
The thing
You know-
about it is, I'm all for going out for public bid or whatever, but let's keep it moving. Let's not like, everything in this town comes to a complete freaking stop when once we decide on something, it seems like. We need to keep it moving. If we're sending it out for bids, we're not sending it out for 90 days or something like that.
Well, when I got these, I think Justin was supposed to get one, didn't happen.
Yeah.
Or if he did turn one in, I wasn't aware of it. So
How many bids do you have today?
I have two, but it's from the same gentleman,
Oh,
Tim Gromas, and one's for a metal roof and one's for just a regular roof.
And one you already saw because that's what you kind of budgeted off of.
Okay,
So
One's
one of those.
22 and the other one's 23, so pretty close.
what do we budget for?
25.
We could have him submit those.
Those are submitted.
Again, I don't want them to become public record
Yes.
and then a contractor come in and say, well, I wanna see that bid that you got. So then they're gonna go $500 less and there's the low bid.
Okay.
And if the city worker didn't want to get a bid, I think that's kind of sad because I don't work for the city, but went and got these two.
How long did it take him to give you a bid?
Well, he gave us one last year. And then this one is from 3/25.
Okay.
So the longer you wait, the more the price is gonna go up. We don't know that.
Well, yeah.
I just know when mom asked for a new driveway to get quoted, it took her 6 months to get 2 bids. Everyone else didn't wanna show up and do it.
This is a guy that built my house, so I trust him. He's
So
done a lot of work.
Put that out for bid, ASAP. Whatever,
Mhm.
just so we can,
and just.
Was,
like, how long?
Too.
Right.
I don't know that I'm the best person to, talk to a contractor, me personally, I'm not the best person to talk to a contractor about building a pavilion. So I guess that should default to the public works superintendent, but,
Yeah. I would think.
okay, so when, you better put a date on when you want them back by.
3 weeks, 4 weeks? That sounds
Okay.
reasonable.
I'd like to be able to discuss it at the
May 29th,
End of May.
or I'm sorry, May 12th
May
is the next.
27th. I mean,
This
do we think
second
we'll be
meeting.
able to get them back by May
Yes.
12th?
Well,
Well,
we got one already that,
you need to, usually you have a 2-week from date of publish.
So that's why even if you post it tomorrow, the 12th isn't 2 weeks. So I want bids to be able to be back by the 27th.
Right, by the
26.
second meeting. in May.
27th. We moved it to.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
yeah,
the,
yeah, yeah,
Memorial
sorry.
Day.
okay,
Yeah, for award.
So, yeah,
Sure.
I think if we have all bids back by the 16th, that is totally,
by 5/16,
Yeah, because
And
they'll go out
award.
on the packet before
Yeah.
that next
and
meeting.
award, what's it, 27?
27th.
Yeah, okay.
That's a
Award
Tuesday.
on the 27th.
You have to remember there'll be plane up there, so they probably won't be able to do it till the fall, honestly.
Right.
Cause we waited and we wait and we wait and we wait some more.
As long as he's still on.
We'll see.
Price.
I mean, we can see, like, I don't know, I would assume a pavilion like that, they could build that in quick.
There's only 2 guys.
Well, for that company.
Yeah.
I mean, I also watched the Amish come in and put up a whole house for my dad in a day.
Right.
So like,
This is just, is this for just a re-roof on it or?
no, tear it down and build a whole new one.
And it was $2,300?
23,000.
Oh, that makes, I was like, Jesus, $2,300.
No,
it starts tomorrow.
Yeah, hell of bids.
Yeah.
okay, the other thing is, has anybody been up to the park recently?
I've drove by it a bunch, but I haven't been down.
Okay, the park looks kind of like it did last year when I came to the meeting. So that evergreen, when you pull in, the rocks are just thrown in there. Nobody's ever done the edging to fix it. I think that kid that was doing the Boy Scout thing was gonna do it, but he didn't get to it. He just painted the picnic tables and the other stuff. So that needs to be done. And we're trying to figure out where the fencing is for the outfield. Does the city order that? Does the Parks Department order
What
that?
do you mean?
Or
Where's
is
that at?
on the top of the
Oh, that-
outfield?
Well, the problem is that fence has to still be lowered.
It is,
Did it get lowered?
yeah,
Who did that?
Lifetime Fence.
Lifetime.
Oh, nice.
So does anybody know who orders that?
Well, the fence is owned by the city,
Right,
so it should be Public Works Superintendent.
So could someone relay that to him, please?
To get that like.
Plastic cover.
Yeah, yeah. And we just had our Easter egg hunt up there for the willows. And there were sticks everywhere. I mean, everywhere. That doesn't look too good on the city. And
Sticks everywhere, you said?
sticks. That water fountain still doesn't work. They took it and put it in the concession stand. There used to be a little water fountain out there. But instead of fixing it, they just took it off and threw it in there. We were supposed to, the last time I was here, we talked about getting a load of dirt and trying to level out up there where it needs dirt.
Mhm.
And everyone was like, oh, it's $100, now it's $150, and we've got no dirt still, so.
I was on Parks and Recs 2 years ago to get that load of dirt. They budgeted in last year for dirt.
And they didn't
Listen,
get it.
but when you say Parks and Rec, you really mean Public Works Department.
Public Works.
Okay, cause I'm thinking, like,
Yeah.
you guys wouldn't call, right?
No,
Then they shouldn't either, so, okay, I just wanna be clear.
So that's on Justin to
So
find the load of
this
dirt.
is all going on Justin's list.
That was on the list that, remember the list?
Okay.
Okay,
When we get all done with this, I think we need to have a list here, and we need to have a meeting.
I wish Patty would share her list with me again, just.
I will,
I don't, but I'm just telling you, I wanna make sure that she lists everything, because I think,
I did, believe
just be
me.
careful where you go with this conversation too.
I know, I'm not, I didn't mention any names or anything, I said, we just need to have a list and meeting.
The weeds are still a little crazy up there.
Which is funny because Parks and Rec just said, or not Parks and Rec, the youth sports came and said that. the
It's
dime
looking
breaks
better, but that's because some other people have been doing their work at it, not
Okay.
the city person. What else? And there was True Green up there. How often is True Green gonna?
Again, when they're notified to, come back.
So is it gonna be like twice a year, 4 times a year? Does anyone know?
I don't remember.
Did we decide?
I don't remember how we,
Just cause I'm sitting here, right, is why everybody's looking at me.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. It's whenever they're notified.
Yeah.
I thought we got on a plan with them, like it was like, we didn't get on a plan with them, like it was like 3 or 4 times a summer or
I
something.
think his plan was call as needed.
Mm-hmm,
Oh,
yeah, it's like, you know, I don't know.
Well, fertilizing and weed
Normally,
control
yeah.
are different. Fertilizing is on a plan, weed control is when they pop back up
Right,
as needed.
Good memory.
I worked at a lawn care company for a long time.
So let's throw that on the list of contacting them.
mhm.
I think you did get the lights fixed. I will give
The
them.
lights are fixed.
Yeah.
actually, I had an email to, this morning when I came in from Chattahoe,
Mhm.
that they are not fit. Well, and I think it's not, the bulbs are fixed. There's something else going on with breakers, from what I understand.
I saw Justin told us after the last meeting how they had to
Right.
replace a breaker or something.
Oh, I don't know.
And then Justin was also gonna look and see if there was a box for, or like,
So
for the
pitching
ability
machine,
for pitching machine.
Plug in the
Yeah.
pitching machine.
Anyway,
that pitching machine has not been addressed yet. That much I do know,
I don't know that.
as far as the power outlet.
all I'm communicating is I had the email that said they were not working.
And that scoreboard still doesn't work, or they haven't used it, or what? They don't really care about the scoreboard that much, but it's there, and it'd be nice if they could use it. They said the infield is like, glass. If you slide, you're all cut up, so
It's been like
something
that for
needs to
10
be
years.
done.
Yeah,
with
that's,
that.
that is definitely on our radar too. We've all been discussing it at meetings about doing something major with that diamond, but that curtails a lot of money, but it does, we all know that you can't slide at that diamond.
But, I think Drew Pond was saying he could help with it with, Bill Witter's construction work. He's there.
See, and that's the thing. I think when we eventually get to redo that diamond, the infield itself, it's gonna be a joint effort of getting people to probably volunteer time
Right.
to just even remove and dispose of, so that a new company can come on and lay just to cut down costs.
Right.
In this next year's budget, we don't have the money, so that would be something that we're gonna hopefully the council
Look at in January.
Yeah, and we can start budgeting for a new infield and get an idea of what that would cost with volunteer help on
Mhm.
cutting down a lot of it, but in this next budget, we can couple it.
And the shingles on the dugouts,
That will be addressed soon.
okay. And the siding on the pavilion is still coming off. From the concession stand, the bathrooms, whatever.
Oh, okay.
That infield, how much have been removed out of there? Is that, you all removed, and where they
I
put
would guess
this?
at least 6 inches deep.
What's that?
I would guess at least 6 inches deep.
Inside.
Underneath that compacted limestone is a nasty layer of clay that when I have to dig out the bases, when I was running the ball tournament, it was awful. I would guess at least 6 inches have to be removed from that whole infield. And then, I mean, I don't know which companies you even contact about doing baseball infields, but I doubt we'd go towards that type of material again.
No, we won't. No.
Not a real patty.
I'm tired of looking, Shelley. I think it's, sad that he's not at the meeting.
One thing I will say, it's really neat when you go into these other towns, like, say like, and I know we're smaller, so we can't be as nice, I know, but I understand the money part of it. But you go into like, Ely, like a Solon, like a Fairfax, where their parks are really freaking nice. I mean, if we're gonna spend money in this next budget, I would really have everybody think about setting in the budget for some money to be spent at that park. I mean, if we're gonna bookmark money for other stuff in this town, that park is high on my priority list. I just think it's really neat when you go into a town and you got a nice looking park, and I know they've got more money. I know, I'm not saying it's gotta be like the Taj Mahal of a park, but it should be kept up and it should be nice.
Well, I mean, I think we are showing a commitment to that park in the next budget by doing a brand new pavilion for the town, chip and seal the whole parking lot, because I just went up there last week and even with the way the barricades are, it's terrible. That does not work. I mean, you can barely get a vehicle through, like it is a nightmare, and people are parking correctly. It just is not feasible the way it's set up with those, like, it needs chip and seal, then needs expanding a little bit.
They're too tight for vehicles, aren't they? Not wide enough for the
The
vehicle.
trucks screw it all up.
Yeah.
That's essentially what it is.
Yeah, not enough SUV or.
So
Side by
who
side.
addresses the stuff for the park?
We need to have, that's where, we need a
The
meeting.
mayor,
Yeah, we'll have to have a.
We need it,
It'll be the mayor will.
we'll have whoever's in charge of our meeting.
So we'll get with.
Another way, it's gotta be done.
well, that's kind of the focal point of the
Mhm.
town.
Yeah.
You see it.
That's what I'm saying. I totally agree with Cody about that. We have been, putting that as a priority of doing stuff up there, putting it on our budget and everything, but there are like little things that are like, that should be taken care of, that's not taken care of.
Yeah, the things that have been mentioned, some of that should have been done already.
A lot of that stuff is like, is not a big money thing.
Yeah.
No,
It's not like we gotta spend $20,000 to pick up sticks,
No.
Yeah, that's right.
you know?
does he have like a allotted time that he works on the park?
This is just priority 1, 2, or 3 going down the list of his daily agenda.
Does he set the priority or who sets the priority?
Yeah, I can't answer that right at the moment. I know I started looking into it, but got kind of sidetracked. So, and I also know with the road construction stuff, he's been sidetracked with that a little bit. And flooding the basements.
In his chain of command, who is in charge? The mayor, isn't he?
Supposed to be.
Yeah. But I think, you
We just need to have a meeting.
and
Let's
maybe
just leave it
decide,
at that.
we need to,
Well, the problem is the meeting doesn't happen with us and that, it's the mayor.
It'll be the mayor that'll have.
We have no input in it.
well, we should have some
We do
input.
have an input.
No, we can't.
I can't wait.
The mayor
The mayor
will have the
oversees
meeting.
all, Shelley and Justin and Dylan.
I mean, but you do have input on the list.
Absolutely.
Yeah, on the list,
What you
but
feel is needed.
we cannot direct.
You know, we can tell the mayor what our
You
pleasure is.
You can give the mayor a list of items that you're concerned with.
Well,
And he can-
we've just got it right there, and
Yeah.
we've got more citizens in this town that's probably have the exact same complaints that.
So how do we meet with the mayor to tell him our,
Just, I mean, worst case scenario, we can just call in, have Shelley put it on the list, and when I come in, I'll run Justin down and go down the list. Or email, whatever we need to do.
just give me a list with
Yeah,
what I think needs to be done, right?
I mean, the last week of January, I sat down with Justin, we talked about what needed to happen in the short term for the next 3 weeks, and everything got taken care of in that 3-week period. I just didn't follow up with him very well in the last 8 weeks.
No, you shouldn't have to follow up.
Yes, I need to. It's called leadership.
Yeah, I know, but it's still,
I mean, the biggest thing we have had going in the last 8 weeks is the siren. We've got that ironed out. Now we're just waiting for an opening for them to move it.
So we'll give, the mayor or Shelley our concerns and plus whatever Patty's got on the list and we'll go from there. Can we get a report back as the council of how that meeting went since we can't be involved in it?
Yeah,
Should be able to.
that shouldn't be a problem.
Maybe a time frame when that's gonna be done. Please.
We'll work through that and see what's going on that he thinks is a priority and what we feel is a priority and go back and forth. So there's stuff going on with the construction stuff that probably higher ranking than the park, but we need to prioritize the park also.
But if he's not working, it's not a priority.
That's true. We'll figure it out.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Patty.
thanks, Patty.
See you next month.
Okay, next on the list is the tree list. Is HR Green on computer?
No, Tim had called and asked if they needed to be here, and knowing, that Justin had a little bit of work to do based on the email from Melissa. I just put it on the agenda for you guys to have it on your radar, you see the list.
Can you explain it?
Can I explain it?
It's the ash tree list.
No, I know what it is, but I'm saying like the color coding.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
there's
think
green, there's
in
red,
the
there's
email-
black,
Red is removed, I can see that.
there's yellow.
And then like the yellow highlighted, it says clean.
I don't know what that means.
I
Does
mean,
anybody else know what clean means?
so this is every city manager.
Well, I tried to get into the second part of this and you want me to click on, go into another,
Excel,
another set, thing.
are you at this?
No, I don't have that. it goes into something.
Should be
Goofy,
right below
goofy
there.
crap, and I don't want to go
There
into
you
it.
go. There it is. And then just close this.
Yeah.
There you go.
Raised?
See,
And
none
then you
none of
can
this,
just scroll.
another screen will come up when I try it.
You didn't have to scroll up and down. You can use this.
Yeah, that's where I just don't know like what exactly we're looking at here,
And
because
It'd be
there's
nice to have more.
red that are removed. There are some green
And then
that
you
say
just-
removed, there are
just
some
tell
white
me
that say removed.
Right?
Yeah, but
You have to hold it.
to get to that, you want me to click into another website.
I don't know what that meant.
I don't need it, and I won't do that one.
No.
I would,
Then I see critical concern on some.
yeah, I would think this list, you could shrink this list down by getting rid of the removes.
See, that's what I think.
Off of it.
Or at
That way
least
we
move them
wouldn't-
to a different tab.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
so we
you, so
wouldn't
you
be
have a
looking at
history of
such-
what's
Yeah.
been
Yeah,
there.
cause I'd like to know how many we have left on the list.
Yeah,
I
that's
mean,
kind
we're
of,
looking at like,
And
what are
I,
you looking at 60 or
and I think,
98 or something, 97 things on there, and there might be. We take off all the ones that's been removed,
might be
we might
30
down
of
to
them.
30 of them.
yeah.
Well, and then you look at just the critical condition remove, and that gives us a list moving forward for the next 2 years.
so, yeah, recommend that Justin or someone else, Parks and Rec, again, they're not gonna do it, right?
I want to see,
Review the trees in the right of way that are still in place. So basically take this list and verify.
Sort of.
I wanna say Justin and Melissa were saying there's like 20 or less trees that are left to come down.
that are on that critical concern.
Am I right on our last meeting, we decided that we weren't treating anymore? Right?
I don't think we ever did, sure.
Just the
I
ones
don't
that
think
needed to be treated,
I
or
don't
could
think-
be saved by treating, we
We did a
decided to
treatment.
just.
In my lifetime on council, we have treated trees once.
I don't think we need to quit treating trees if they're viable.
Oh, I do.
I don't,
All you're doing is
because if you got a tree that's perfectly healthy, why would you just let it die?
Because if it's dying, it's dying.
But it's not dying. There's trees out there that are perfectly healthy
So why do I need to treat it?
Keep the bug.
to keep the bug out of it.
Just like he said, he's been treating his for 6 years and it's still dead now. And it was a perfectly viable tree. I'm not gonna waste thousands of dollars treating trees, hoping that the bug doesn't get in it.
Yeah, that's what we decided last meeting, was basically the ones that said needed to be treated should just be removed.
13 according to this list.
As a critical concern.
No, 13 total ash trees according to this list. Whether this list is actually accurate or not.
But where those trees are all located and whether or not they're infected
Correct.
is the question. So if we get somebody to look at them, if they're infected, take them out, get rid of them. If they're not and they're viable, there's probably maybe 4 or 5 on that list that are still viable trees that can be treated.
But we wait for them all to be. For that, we could be waiting, we could keep this list open for 10 years then.
Well, no, it's like I said, you take the items off the list that have been removed already.
I know, but if you're saying.
You check what ash trees we have left to see what's viable and what isn't. If there's ones that aren't viable, you get rid of them, you cut them down. And see what's left standing.
Yeah, what I'm saying, Mike, what I'm trying to say is like, say we got 13 trees on this list or whatever. Say 5 of them, there doesn't seem like there's anything wrong with them yet.
Right.
How long are we gonna keep this list open? I mean, it might be 5, 8 years.
27 trees have been.
But there's more trees on here than just ash trees.
Yeah, there's 70
I mean,
total
there's a
trees.
lot
that
of
are
trees
remaining.
here.
Well,
How
that's
many?
what don't concern us. Because we don't have to treat.
I thought there
any of
was
these
13.
other-
I'm sorry,
Right.
13.
You don't
Oh,
treat all the
13,
ones on this list.
27 have been already removed from this list.
Okay,
But then there's some that say remove, but they say mature tree routine. Then there's some that say remove that are critical concern.
Yeah, see, I'm not,
So I think we focus on the critical concern and see what that list looks like.
It's probably gonna take
and you wanna
a few
totally
years.
get rid of it?
We'll get back, yeah.
Yeah, so you can either just click on here and it'll put it down. So click on that little line. Yep. No, this little line.
What does that do? That'll shut
That'll
everything.
shut it down. There you go. So then you wanna get back to the agenda.
Oh,
Is that
that's
what you
what,
want? Yeah,
So
okay.
that line's all like this.
Yeah, and then if you wanna get back in there, you just
Oh.
click on it and it'll bring it back.
There's no difference on it. Way different. Okay, right.
And I just condensed to
Yeah.
show certain criteria. I condensed the list. Otherwise it would have been 24 pages. And I needed to do it too.
8, 9, 10.
I need to go.
There are 10 trees on this list that are critical concern that need to be removed. That's our list. 10 trees say critical concern and the recommendation is removed.
So
So
we
the 13
remove-
went to 10 or no? My word.
The-
There's
ash?
13 ash trees.
Oh,
Yes,
ash.
13 ash trees.
Ash, okay.
There's a bunch on here that are critical concern that are not ash
American
whatsoever.
basswood or red cedar,
Norway maple,
yeah, Norway maple.
eastern red cedar.
But at the same time, I guess it'd be nice to know why they're critical and like,
Or are they dead?
and like, where are they also located?
I think the one was hanging over.
It's the one that say critical concern is dead or dying.
Yeah,
Is their notation.
yeah, so
50% dead?
I think those are the 10 that we focus on next year.
You can get all the rest of them, because you're not gonna say them.
We get 5 trees a year, I think is about what we were averaging.
Mhm.
That's 2 years to remove every tree that's critical concern needs removed.
Need to map them.
Yeah.
The next one, line item 11. new bill format.
Yeah, I just wanted the council to see, this is gonna start, what did I say, with the May? With the May billing, and then Mallory is we're gonna copy the newsletter on the back and start mailing these out. So I just wanted you to see, I'm gonna try to get this sent out, we're gonna try to get this sent out to as many people as we can, so they can see what the format's gonna look like. That's all, that was all for that.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
That's quick.
All in favor?
What time do you do that?
7:49.
Oh, okay. Who seconded that?
I did.
Thank you.